So thank you for taking the time to share some of your memories and experiences with us today. If you could tell us your name, the year, how old you are, and where you fall amongst the Brumleve siblings.
Well, let's see. Where do you want to know where I am?
Yeah, where we're doing the interview today.
We're in Hessel, Michigan, in Aleutiano Islands. And I bought this house in 1981. And I've lived here for probably 40 years or something. Close to.
Yeah. Anything you're most proud of at the house here?
Well, I built it.
Yeah.
built it, and if I had a picture of what it looked like before, it would be quite different from what it looks like today. And so it's the house was originally built probably in the 40s, mid 40s, because when I did some remodeling in it, there were newspapers for insulation in there that were from World War II. So anyway, that's kind of how it's dated.
And where do you fall amongst the Brumleve siblings?
I would be probably number 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right between.
I am 68 years old and still working. And so, what do we have for the next question?
What other states have you lived in?
Kentucky.
Okay.
2 years in Kentucky, boarding school.
Yeah.
If you consider that living in Kentucky, but...
Yeah. Spent some of your time there. And how many homes have you lived in since you moved out of your parents?
Probably 3, 4 maybe. Just locally around here. Just probably rental places.
So what did your parents do for a living?
Dad was an attorney, Mom was a housewife.
Okay. Do you think that they enjoyed their career or calling in life?
I'm sure Dad did more than Mom did. 8 kids. Yeah, I think she enjoyed it for the most part.
Yeah. Did you ever get to tag along on any of Dad's adventures in his attorney, or?
We go down to his office downtown sometimes and look around at his office and go to lunch with him sometime for his 2 martini lunch.
Yeah.
And but no, we never went to any kind of trial work. He didn't do a lot of trial.
Okay.
I don't think did a lot of trial work, although he did some. But no, I didn't really tag along with a lot of his law office there.
What hobbies or interests did your parents have?
Well, Dad was, he liked to play golf and tennis. He liked to play tennis a lot. And golf, loved boating. Yeah, so those were his primary hobbies, plus his kids.
Yeah. And your mom, did she have anything that you remember being a particular hobby?
Yeah, I don't think she had a whole lot of time for anything.
Yeah.
But I know she liked playing bridge. She liked playing bridge when she had a chance, and yeah, I can't think of a whole lot of other.
Yeah.
She liked bird watching, kind of just being outside, natural stuff.
Did you embody any of their interests?
Well, let's see. I play golf and I play tennis thanks to my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of took me along on those adventures. None of the other Chuck or Kent really picked up on that.
Yeah.
Only Kent plays any tennis or golf. But yeah, so those are probably some. And of course, my dad's love for the Aleutiano Islands here eventually got me up here.
Yeah. So what was the expectation of family responsibility when you were growing up?
Wow. Well, we all had chores to do. We had mostly doing yard work, and we all had a place in the kitchen most of the time. But we lived in Evanswood from, when I was born in 1952 until about 1962. So we were there for about 10 years and then moved to Cypress Gardens, where I probably from 10 till about 20, I was there. But yeah, we had a English Tudor house, and it had a big fish pond in it with waterfalls, and we were, Kent and I, Chuck mostly, short his responsibilities as far as household chores as much as he could. But yeah, Kent and I used to have to clean, the frog pond or the fish pond, and gardening, cutting grass.
Did you have a chore that was your least favorite?
I don't know, not really.
Yeah.
They were all, something had to be done.
Yeah. When did you have to get your first job? Was it a requirement or something you wanted to do on your own?
Probably both.
Yeah.
But the first job, real job I probably had was when I was maybe a junior, senior in high school. And that was being a janitor at the Cincinnati Speech and Hearing Center.
Okay.
Sister Jane was, I think, an assistant teacher there to one of the teachers there, and somehow I ended up working there for emptying waste baskets, mopping floors, vacuuming, window washing one-way mirrors, and yeah, so $1.35 an hour.
Yeah.
Starting salary.
And how long were you there?
I was probably there for a couple years.
Yeah.
Well, I went to probably my last year in high school, and then probably freshman year in college.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was kind of, learned to clean.
Yeah. Did you see Jane a lot when you were there?
See who?
Jane a lot when you were there?
No.
No.
No, I always went in after everything was closed.
After hours.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was your favorite family meal growing up?
Oh. Favorite family meal? I can't really recall other than special occasions when we had some prime ribs or, leg of lamb or something like that. Otherwise, it was lots of casseroles and, whatever you did for cooking for 8 kids.
Yep.
So it was always kind of family style, but we did sit down and eat mostly every night together.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you eat now that you hated eating as a kid?
Probably Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
Brussels sprouts, maybe broccoli, but yeah, I like those a lot now. But I think it had a lot to do with how things were cooked back then, because they just kind of boiled it or something like that, and it was all pretty tasteless.
Yeah.
And sometimes my brother Jerry had to shove it down my throat, much to my, my dismay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what did dinners look like growing up when everyone was at dinner? Oh, Mike.
They were pretty much, we pretty much ate most meals together, except when the older kids went to school, the college, or they were gone. And, yeah, I mean, by the time I got teenage years, my brother Jerry and even Nancy were out of the house. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, so.
Was dinner a formal affair, pretty casual? Just everybody kind of getting together?
We had to wear a coat and tie every night to dinner.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, things were very casual. Mm-hmm. Yeah, although my dad would always, he'd be home from work and he'd always have a, coat on or tie or something like that.
Did you have any specific responsibilities around dinner?
Yeah, I'm sure we did. Just bringing food in and clearing tables, and yeah, we all had, I think, dish duty. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Did you have any special items that you remember from your house growing up?
I have a very nice table in the hallway, which is, I guess, kind of a male table. It was used as a kind of a breakfast table. Mm-hmm. And I think that came from my mom's mom. And there's probably a few pieces of artwork in the house that came from them. But yeah, the table is probably most memorable.
Mm-hmm. For you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there ever something that you really wanted as a kid that you either remember getting or never getting?
I just remember up here a little speedboat that Kent and I wanted pretty bad, but we never got.
Yeah.
And that belonged to, I think, Steve Ryder, who was somebody on Cincinnati Row over in LaSalle Island. But no, we never got that.
Yeah. For good reason?
For good reason, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite pet growing up?
Well, probably our dog Vodka. We had several dogs, Vodka being the earliest one I remember. And he was kind of just a mutt, kind of a tan-colored, sort of lab type dog. Mm-hmm. But then we had he was there for years, and we had lots of fun with him, dressing him up. And but then we had a Pyrenees, Sam, and then we had a Saint Bernard, and these were Dad's kind of big dog type things that he liked.
Yep. And those
I also
traveled with
remember
you?
a dog named Pooh, who was a boxer when we lived on Evanswood, and having a large litter of puppies. And we think we got pictures of that on film of Mom and all these puppies. But we got a good education in the doggy sex world during that time. So.
Did you have any exotic pets?
Not really. I got an aquarium, a big size aquarium when I was probably 8 or 9, that I had kept for years and years. Tropical fish. That's about as exotic as it got.
Yeah. I know Jane tells stories of some snakes in Michigan with a cook, but she's like, I don't think those were pets. But
Oh, that was Chuck mostly, bringing a big gardener snake into the cottage over there, and our cook, who was up here for the summer, about lost it and threatened to quit.
Yeah.
He came around there with it braided around his waist that was that big. She freaked.
Yeah. Any other funny stories with pets?
I can't remember, other than Vodka. We used to dress them up, like put sweaters on them and little stupid hats and things like that. But we didn't do that with the St. Bernard or the Pyrenees. We were a little more grown up by then, I guess.
Yeah.
I can't imagine where Isabel got some of her stuff from.
I don't know where she got it from. She's like a drill sergeant when it comes to discipline for the dogs.
Yeah. Did anyone not like the pets?
Well, my mom got a little frustrated with them sometimes. Yeah, they were not her. She had enough things going on without having to worry about dogs and cats out in the backyard screaming and doing their thing out, tomcats and.
Yeah. What school activities or sports did you participate in?
Well, we didn't have any kind of sports in grade school. There were no sports in grade school for us. But I did play a little hardball, little league baseball, hardball, till we came up here in the summers, and that kind of stopped. And then when I got to high school, I tried out for the, for the football team, and that didn't work out. I was caught smoking a couple times, so that kind of ended that career.
Did you have anyone coach you on these or encourage you to do anything?
Sports-wise?
Yeah, in the family.
Probably Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody else did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who was the more strict of your parents, your mother or your father?
Mom by far.
Yeah. Do you have a vivid memory of anything that you were disciplined for?
No, not specifically, but I was disciplined a lot with a hairbrush or a wood cutting board or a strap.
Okay. We heard about a monkey story with the peas.
Oh, yeah. No, that did, I can't remember what grade I was in, but that was, I don't know, 7th grade, 6th, 7th grade over at the Cincinnati Zoo. We went over there with bean shooters, and we're shooting, it was myself and Tony Geetline and maybe Tim Mulcair, 3 guys. And we were shooting beans at the monkeys and the baboons and anything else that was, we thought would get a little rise out of them.
So who taught you?
And then we had, and then somebody must have turned us in because a plainclothes guy came and grabbed myself, and I think the other 2 guys ran. They escaped. I got taken in downtown to the juvenile detention place, I guess, and then they called Dad. He was having some insurance guy over, cocktails, and they had to come down and pull me out of juvenile detention.
Yep.
And then I had a little hearing I had to go to, and I got house arrest for 2 weeks, all for shooting my little bean shooter at the.
Yeah.
Probably could have shot him at your brother's without getting in trouble.
Yeah.
I know.
That's not nearly as fun.
Yeah, no, that was.
Monkey of a different kind.
Yeah.
But they liked it.
The monkeys liked it, or your brothers liked
something,
it?
You know, they were bored sitting in their
Yeah.
cages.
Yeah. What type of student were you in school?
Not very good.
No.
C student,
Yeah.
pretty much C student.
What is the
Although
highest?
the only A I think I ever got in college was in logic.
Well, there you go. Shows everything you need to know. What is the highest education you attended?
I had 4 years of college, had a BA psychology. Whatever that was worth.
Yeah. What was your living situation when you lived at your parents'? Did you share a room with anyone?
Yeah, I think always shared a room. I don't think I ever had a bedroom to myself. Chuck may have had a bedroom to himself for a while, but yeah, I was always sharing a room with Kent and or Chuck.
Do you have any memories of your grandparents?
Yeah, I had Leo Brumleve, Greta, and Mary Bomer, Mom's mother. More the grandmas and the grandpas, because they were kind of out of the picture by the time I got to be aware of them, really. Yeah, Grandma Brumleve, we used to go over, and she was in a wheelchair, and she'd come over for Sunday dinners, and we'd always go over and pick her up with the, her wheelchair and take her down the steps on her little electric chair. Yeah, she was quite the blue-haired lady. At one time, Chuck and I, she was always complaining about her pain and so forth, and so Chuck and I went over there with some pot and had her try some pot. And she seemed to take to that pretty well. And of course, this was a time when pot was not very acceptable. And she kept asking us for more, and at that point we decided we should better cut it off. I'm not
Cut
sure
Grandma
why,
off. Yeah.
but it was, I think, a nice little diversion for medical marijuana,
Yeah.
as they would say today.
Yeah. Some medicinal use. Yeah.
So that was quite the little scandal in the family.
Yeah. I haven't heard that
Granny
one.
high.
Did
Yeah.
anybody find out?
Well, yeah, eventually they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
who was
we told them.
Yeah.
We told them that
and who was in more trouble, you or Grandma?
nobody got in any
Yeah.
trouble. And then Grandma Bomer had a place up here, over on Lakeside Road, which she bought in 1952, and I spent a lot of time up here in the Falls when I was up here going to school and living here. Lots of little cocktails, little bourbons in the evening, and she told me some, quite a few stories about her youth and her marriage to her, to her husband Harry, that were not so pretty pictures of
Yeah.
her life with her husband.
So what was your relationship like with your aunts and uncles?
I think always good.
Yeah. Did you see them often?
Yeah, we saw them quite often. Most of them. Some of them were not.
Do you feel like you were similar to any of them in any way?
Well, to probably Harry Bomer. He was probably the most fun uncle we had. Vince Meyer was probably the most sullen
Yeah.
uncle we had, who was the funeral director, and he always kind of acted like he was a funeral director, even in real life, when he wasn't in the funeral home. And Jack Favre, and then Jane and Jack, they were always happy party people. And then, of course, on Dad's side, there was his sister Marjorie, who died somewhere back in the 60s. from cancer, so we really never knew her too well. But my dad's other sister, Greta, really great lady that we would spend a lot of time with when I was living in Cincinnati anyway. Yeah.
And did you see your cousins just as often?
Mostly the Myers and Favre's, we probably saw the most of. And on Dad's side, the Clouds. We would see them mostly like holidays and things like that.
How often do you see them now?
Clouds, I never hardly ever see them. Myers, I still see a lot of them only because they're up here. Favre's, again, only because they're up here.
Yeah.
And some more than others.
Do you remember any holiday traditions or special stories?
Holiday traditions. Well, we were either went to the Clouds' house on Christmas or Thanksgiving, or they'd come over to our place. As far as traditions, I guess that was be traditional. But as far as food, there was always a feast. You know, turkey, Thanksgiving, and probably prime rib or some sort of a big chunk of beef on Christmas. So,
Any fun memories you have of Christmas? Doing anything goofy with Clouds, or anything on Christmas Eve that you guys would do that was special?
I don't know. We're all just running around like crazy.
Yep.
Christmas Day, you know, we had always had our big tree, and lots of kids scrambling for presents, I guess. But yeah.
Did anyone bake anything memorable, or any special food besides, you said, turkey and ham? No.
Lots of pies.
Yeah.
We used to always have these little Christmas cookies that had anisette, or kind of the licorice from Virginia Bakery in Clifton there. But I always remember those and like those.
Yeah. Can you tell us about a memorable vacation you had with your family, and who all went and where'd you go?
Well, we always came up here for vacation, other than the one year we went to a trip out west, and I think it was around 1962. 10 people in the station wagon and a little Nimrod pop-up camper for 6 weeks. And yeah, that was quite the memorable trip.
Yep.
And we think we got films of it, you know, like an 8mm picture films. I don't know if you've ever seen those, Ken. Yeah, they're somewhere.
Interesting.
Where all did you go?
Well, we left Cincinnati and we went to Colorado, and then down through, you know, we went to Rocky Mountain National Park, and then down through all the Zion and Bryce Canyon and the Pueblo ruins, Grand Canyon, Death Valley, Los Angeles. We were there for a week or two, and then went up the West Coast to San Francisco. I don't know if we went to Yosemite, but to the Redwoods, Sequoias, World's Fair, the 1960-62 World's Fair, where the Space Needle. And then we went over to Yellowstone, and went across the Dakotas, and I don't think we went to Glacier. I think we went to, yeah, we didn't make Glacier National Park, but anyway, we hit a lot of national parks. It was a great trip.
Yeah. Any funny stories you remember from that trip?
There were with 10 kids, eight people, there were a lot of stories.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I do remember one, we would have, us boys would have peeing contests and see who could pee the farthest off a, they called me the archer.
So you won.
I won. Yeah. Some of the time.
Yeah. We heard a story about your dad chasing after a milkman, getting a flat tire.
Yeah, that was somewhere up in Montana. And we were on a gravel road, and I don't know how we ended up getting a flat tire. Oh no, the stone went through the radiator of the vehicle, the gravel road, and I don't know if the truck in front of us threw up a stone and it went right through the grill and went through the radiator.
man.
And we were sidetracked for a long time because we were in the middle of nowhere. And when somebody did come and fix it, they came in, oddly enough, I believe it was a Rolls Royce or a Bentley,
Wow.
as I recall.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it all transpired, how they fixed the radiator right there, enough to get it to somewhere to repair it. But
Yeah.
that was, yes, we were
One of the moments.
sidetracked for quite a while.
Yep. Any special stories you remember about Lake Chanot summers? Anything that sticks out in particular? You've obviously had quite a few Lake Chanot summers,
Oh, yeah.
so.
Yeah, we had lots of fun. We would, I don't know, things were much more different then than it is now. I mean, we were able to go and buy beer by the cases, for our little parties, and sometimes we get people to buy it for us, but we'd always go out to Boot Island or Government Island and have our bonfires and drink beer and do goofy things.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm sure, I don't know, you probably have heard the story from your father, Kent, on putting one of our outboards up on we're hitting a stone wall with it over at the Hammond girls' house, where we had a 16-foot fiberglass boat, and we were always going over to these girls' house. They had 3 lovely-looking blonde girls that were about our age, and we'd go over there lots of times to beach our boat. And first time we came in to beach the boat, we didn't have quite enough power to get it very far on the beach there. So I went out around again. I was driving. Kent was on the engine, so we came in ramming speed and shut off the engine, and Kent pulled the engine up, and from the water to, they had a retaining wall about 16 feet out of the water, and when we shut off the engine, the water just kind of flowed in around us and took us right up on the beach and hit the bow right on the wall, busted a hole in the bow of the boat. And we kind of lied to Dad about it for a while, tell him we hit a rock out in the, Peck Bay or somewhere, which he eventually caught on to because it was above the water line for one. And he caught us in a lie there, but we ended up getting it fixed.
Yep.
Another story that we had regarding a kind of a boating incident was probably when I was 16, 17. We went to, it was Lois and I, and she was a date of Chip Letts, and I had a date with Darcy Neal, and we took Chip Letts' newly restored Hacker Craft, which is like a 26-foot 3-cockpit boat, over to Mackinac Island for dinner, and I think we had dinner at the Grand.
Wow.
And on the way back, and for some reason we would traditionally come in the west entrance here, but he wanted to go to the east entrance, which means going way out around Goose Island, which wasn't a problem. That he did all that, but when we came in east entrance, he took a fix on the blinking green light coming into the entrance there. My date and I were in the back seat, half asleep, because I've been driving for an hour, and he took a beat on this green blinking buoy. His buoy was pretty good size, and he kept driving for the buoy, and the light's blinking on, blinking off, blinking on, blinking off. Next thing you know, it's blinking on and then blinked off, and he slammed right into the buoy. And
woke you up in the back. Woke you up in the back.
Definitely woke us up in the back. And he hit it on the side, and it broke a couple planks below the water line. This was about 2 o'clock in the morning now. And as long as we kept the boat planing, it wasn't taking water on. As soon as we slowed down, the thing started gushing in. And so we ended up coming back to our place on LaSalle Island and calling Tacey Boatworks at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we ended up driving this beautiful mahogany Hacker Craft over there at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and they pulled it out of water. right away.
Yeah.
And don't know what his dad, how he came down on him, but he must come down on him pretty good. It was a stupid frickin' mistake.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a lighted buoy and you run right into it. Maybe he was preoccupied.
Yeah.
You have to ask Lois one about that.
Yeah.
Do these in order.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get the good stuff about the siblings before you do their interview.
That's how it's come around. Yeah. Yeah. Jane was sure to mention that Chris needs to tell the pea story and the monkeys. She wouldn't tell it. She said, you have to tell it.
The pea story?
Yeah, well, the monkeys.
The monkeys.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's my claim to fame.
Yeah.
As bad as I got. Although, I never got caught for half the stuff that we did. And some was not so good.
Yeah. Yeah, no one's talked too much about Bardstown. Do you have any fun stories of you guys down there?
Oh, God, I could go on for hours on that one. But, yeah, we had a lot of fun in Bardstown.
Mm-hmm.
There were guys from all over the country and some from South America. Even England, a couple guys from England.
Mm-hmm.
We had, you know, I was, half the time I was down there, I was on what was called indefinite jug, which is you had to go on, after school, you had to go on work detail to work on the track or rake leaves, or when they didn't have anything to do, we had to walk around in a quadrant for 2 hours every day, just walk around. And mostly it's because I was caught several times smoking, and you would get, first time, you know, you get a certain amount of jug, which amounted to a certain amount of hours, and when these things continue, then you start getting indefinite jug until they let you off of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a lot of walking and raking leaves.
Yeah.
And so I never had time for sports, which
Yeah.
is okay with me. But we had haircut checks. Your hair couldn't be over your ears. And there were quite a few pretty young ladies there that both myself and Chuck got involved with. The good thing, Chuck went to school there a year before I did, so everybody kind of knew. He kind of broke the ice on a lot of things down there. And he was on the wrestling team, and he was football team. I think he was on track. You know, kind of straightened him out there. He went down there because he was getting more trouble at home
Mm-hmm.
than I certainly was. So, but yeah, Bardstown, I was dating I wasn't dating, sort of was dating the mayor's daughter there for a little while. And she was going with the star running back of our football team. We had a pretty damn good football team. But anyway, she'd come over and meet me at the after study hall at like 9 o'clock at the fence there, and we'd have a little smooze in there. and then it came out that she was seeing me in the Jimmy Reed, the running back there. When he found out about it, thing kind of hit the fan.
Yeah.
So she had to make a decision which one she was going to hang with.
Yeah.
She went with the running back.
Yeah. Not the boy at the fence. Yeah.
We had fun.
Yeah.
There were a lot of other stories down there. I mean, just the kids and, you know, the discipline. I would see guys get physically hammered by the brothers down there. They didn't take any crap from any lippy freshmen or sophomores or seniors or juniors.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that I mean, other than getting paddled once in a while, I didn't really get too physically.
Too knocked around, yeah.
Although I did have the resident director come fly across his desk and slam me against the wall and push me up against the wall because I was laughing we were having a meeting in his office, and one of the guys was like acting like, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. And Greg Meyer and I were looking at each other, kind of grinning at each other, like this guy, like, you know, just going along too officially. And he saw me smirking and laughing, and he came over to the desk and threw me up against the wall. And then he set me down and brushed off my lapels and said, "We got that right, Brumleve?" And I said, "Yes, sir."
Yeah.
Was it Greg Meyer and Kent and Chuck and anybody else, or?
Any other family?
Nobody else in the family. Greg Meyer and I were down there for 2 years. Kent was there for freshman year, and after our 2 years there, they closed the school.
Too many Brumleves?
After being in in a teaching education for, I don't know, for 70 years or something like that. I guess, I don't know what the deal was. They just couldn't make it financially work anymore. All our buildings were Civil War buildings. The building we were in for our dormitory was a infirmary during the Civil War. That gives you an idea how old the buildings were. But they were pretty cool.
Have you been back to visit at all?
We went back one time, gosh, it's probably been 15, 20 years ago with Lois, and I think they turned it into a whiskey museum.
Yeah.
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 In the basement, I think, at least.
Yeah, yeah. But we had brothers. They were mostly from the Northeast, Boston, New York, and most of them were pretty young, and they could get pretty, I mean, they didn't take any, like I said, they didn't take any lip from any of the boys.
Yep.
And
Any friendships from Bardstown that have lasted?
not really that I've kept up with.
Was there ever anything you were really excited to do as a kid? Or any event that you were really excited to go participate in?
I used to like fishing a lot, and somehow I kind of got away from that. But I always was fished a lot when we were up here.
Yeah. Just by yourself, or?
Well, by myself or Dad. Sometimes we go out with Dad. Dad wasn't much of a fisherman. Matter of fact, he couldn't stand the smell of fish on his hands. I mean, it was like, get over it. You're gonna fish or eat fish, which he didn't really like doing either. Yeah, we fish off the dock or go out in the boat.
Any good fishing stories?
Can't say that.
Nope, nothing too memorable.
No, I mean catching some big fish. I know I got a picture in the garage of Kent and I holding up a couple
Yeah.
little smallmouth bass and pike or something.
When did you first learn to drive? And who taught you?
Well, I guess I was probably 15, because by the time we were 16, we took driver's tests. But nobody really taught us other than kind of sneaking out the family car when Mom and Dad were out. And we would drive. And that's how most of us probably learned. I can't really recall Mom or Dad going out driving with us. But maybe they did. They might have somewhere along the line. But that was, I just remember sneaking the car out and learning how to, to drive.
What was your first car?
Well, let's see. We had family cars for the kids. But I don't know. I mean, the first car that I remember having was a red Austin Healey. And then we had a black MGB. And of course, they were all used and kind of beat to crap anyway. By the time we got them, Dad wasn't buying us anything very, very new. But I don't know. My first car up here was probably some rusted out old rust bucket that we'd bought from Wayne Honolulu, Viking Boat Harbor. And this thing was like holes in the trunk, holes in the doors. Didn't last too long.
Yeah.
And then probably I had a little blue Toyota pickup truck. Was probably the truck that I had the longest and I can remember.
And we know Kent was quite the speed demon. Did you have a similar record when you were first driving?
No.
No?
Actually, I have not had a moving traffic violation since I was 17 years old.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
I've had a few warnings. And the one violation I did have was I had a girl in the car that I was going with at the time, and we were stopped at a light, and the cars were turning left. I was in the turn left lane or something. She was looking at something in her arm, and well, I was moving forward, and the car stopped in front of me, and I rear-ended it. Not going very fast though. But that's the only moving I keep telling Isabel, who's had 2 or 3 tickets already. One for going 90 miles an hour, which doesn't help her insurance.
Yep.
Anyway, warnings about speeding.
Yeah. Is there anything you know now that you wish you had known at 18?
Don't take authority too seriously, I guess would be mine. Or younger. Yeah, question authority.
From the familiar authority, like from your family, or like from like what people tell you from the outside?
Well, don't be intimidated by people who are in a position of power. I would say for any advice that I would give a young kid or somebody young, that would be it.
Did you feel like you had embodied that, or do you feel like that you trusted people for too long?
I think I trusted people for too long about the authority that they possessed.
Yeah. Their opinion may be greater than what it actually was.
Yeah, I mean, question this authority.
Yeah.
By what rights do you have to, lodge certain enforcements or things like that?
Sure.
Whether it's teachers or police or other township government people, priests.
How many kids do you have?
Well, I have one, Isabel, and I have two stepchildren, Eric and Shannon. And they're like my own kids. They've been with me for a long time. And
Isabel was born here in Les Chenaux?
Isabel was born here in Les Chenaux, in Sheboygan, actually.
Okay. And how did you pick Isabel's name?
I don't know.
Yeah.
How that came about, but I like the name.
Yeah, fits her well.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of the kids saying anything particularly embarrassing or funny when they were younger?
Not right off the bat.
No?
I have to think about that.
Yeah. I know we know Isabel is quite the character, so I'm sure she had lots of little funny things.
She's very outspoken. I don't know, she was always acting like a dog. And I walk around on a leash like she was a dog. We got some great pictures of her being on a leash. She spent half the time running around on all fours barking. I don't know where that came from. Yeah. Then it went to horses.
Yep.
And, for the most part, I didn't know one end of a horse from the other, but I think she watched too many Saddle Club movies when she was young to get into the horses.
Yep. What characteristics in your kids are you proud of?
Well, Isabel is, she's very outspoken. She's quite smart, a lot smarter than I was going through school. And she is driven to, to go to vet school and her career. Very proud of her for that. And her horse riding, that's been a long ongoing thing, and she's achieved a lot there with her riding. Although she would love to continue it and have her own little horsey world. She did have a horse through high school, and then when it came to college, it had to go away. I wasn't going to board her and a horse at school. Both Eric and Shannon, they were both very smart kids too. They both went to the University of Michigan and graduated with, very good goals and grades. But he's gone on from graduating to working as a bartender to working in the automotive sector and Tesla, and I think he's at Rivian right now. And so, he's doing quite well. And Shannon, she seems to be very happy down there in Petoskey doing her, working for Chandler's and Pallet Bistro. Yeah, she seems to be her wine sommelier. She's very good at doing that, and she comes and visits here quite a bit. So, and it's always nice to see her.
Yep. Any aspects of their lives that you think they improved on from where you had a blind side?
Well, I don't know how you could improve on that.
On perfection.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want me to go into detail about some of my sex life, I guess we could, but probably most people aren't that interested.
Isabel would be.
Yeah, we'll hold off on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
She would not.
Your brothers may be far more interested, especially with context.
Yeah. We'll set up a private phone call for that one. What would you say is the key to successful parenting or making sure your kids are functioning adults?
I don't know, just do what comes natural to you. I think that was my, it's the way I try to raise Isabel, and when Eric and Shannon were here, you just do what feels natural. Obviously, they need some discipline.
Yeah, were there any parenting traits that you carried over from your parents that you can remember?
Probably. I mean, that's probably where I learned most of my traits from, or just the way that they brought up the kids, and whether I was conscious of it or not, or just kind of subjective or what. But I mean, Isabel didn't get the spankings that we got when growing up. She may have got it once or twice, but we didn't get into that unless it absolutely necessary.
No hairbrushes or breadboards?
No breadboards.
Yeah.
No.
Do you have a bucket list?
No.
No. Do you have a vacation that was especially memorable with any of the kids?
Well, we used to go to St. John's a lot down in the Virgin Islands. For a number of years we would go down there, and I can't say one was more memorable than the other, but we used to stay at the hoity-toity Westin Hotel down there while Sally was around, and we even had a timeshare there for a short period. But then after Sally and I, split up, when she was still down there, I'd take Isabel down there. I would stay at kind of an eco resort, which was much more my style. They were just screened-in porches with composting toilets and pretty primitive conditions compared to the Westin, which I seem to enjoy more at home with than all the fluffy Westin pillowcase tops on their beds and all this other stuff.
Do a lot of fishing down there?
No, we did snorkeling.
Okay.
We did quite a bit of snorkeling.
Yeah.
And that was always very enjoyable. I like doing that.
Now, are you a fan of obviously you've gone, but are you a fan of the hot beaches? Is that your first choice, or?
Well, we went to a lot of the beaches. But when we'd go to the beaches, we'd always take our snorkeling stuff with us. Not much for laying around on a beach, and
Sure.
yeah. If I go to the beach, I'm walking on the beach half the time instead of
Laying out.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go through some countries. I don't know if Canada and Mexico, been to both of those?
Canada, not Mexico.
Anywhere in Europe?
Been to Ireland, Scotland, England.
Right, Isabel was out there for a trip.
Yeah, Isabel and I went to Christmas time. Went over and saw Beth and Paul, stayed with them for a week, and then met up with Chuck and Diane, and we went up to the Lake Country in England, northern England. And that was in the winter time, Christmas. It was snowy up there at that time. And then Ireland, Sally and I went to Ireland and spent a couple weeks there touring around. That was in late fall. That was beautiful. And then again met up with Chuck and Diane another year and went to Scotland in November. And of course, going with Diane, she knows, she's very history oriented. And we went to lots of churches and boneyards and castles, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Any place that you visited that you think is the most beautiful of everywhere you've traveled?
Well, the Aleutian Islands are one of the
Yeah.
nicer places I've
Yeah.
been in all seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Scotland and Ireland were pretty darn nice. I like the mountains,
Mm-hmm.
especially over in Ireland and Connemara area on the northwest, the northwest end of Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
What was your first winter like up here? Were you in
Well, I was
somewhere
I
else?
was up at school up at Lake Superior for the first winter, and it was a very heavy snow year. Very heavy snow year. And yeah, it was long.
Yeah.
And they haven't gotten any shorter. But it comes up here in the summertime and says, oh, well, as soon as it starts getting a little cold and windy and a few snowflakes start flying, everybody's gone, which is fine with me.
Yeah.
Actually, November, December are some of my nicer months when
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoyment.
no
months.
jet skis, campers, Harley Davidsons, Jeeps, side-by-sides, all these things going down the road.
Heading the correct direction on the bridge.
Yeah, if they're going south, that's better.
Just some iconic times in American history. The Vietnam War, 9/11, COVID-19. Anything especially memorable about any of those times?
I would say Vietnam War probably more than anything else that we were, period we lived through. All the protests and then the civil rights, the riots of, I think it was 68 or something like that. I mean, even in Cincinnati, we had riots down there and Army people driving around in Jeeps with machine guns mounted on the front.
What was your involvement in any of that?
What was my involvement with it? Not much. I mean, just kind of stayed out of the picture there, but we were also very, I guess, voting-wise, definitely turned our heads a lot for the old Nixon administration there, or Johnson and Nixon administrations. Yeah.
And what was your experience with the draft for Vietnam?
I was like 300. No, I was like 165, or I drew a real high number. And I think that was maybe the second year they had the draft. But I knew a lot of people went over there, and I knew some that it didn't come back. And there were lots of protests. Pale in comparison. Today's protests pale in comparison to a lot of the Vietnam stuff that was going on at the time, and civil rights protests. 9/11 really didn't influence, and we were pretty far removed from all that, other than just the publicity of it all.
I know that. Do you remember the Kennedy assassination? Moon landing?
Yeah, I think I was like 6th grade,
Okay.
and I just remember being, they immediately closed, school closed, and got to go home.
Yep.
But yeah, not only that, then there was, a few years later, Martin Luther King, Bobby Kennedy, lots of assassinations, people getting shot. Yeah, pretty turbulent times.
Yeah, sounds like it. In your forming years there.
So I got the hell out of Cincinnati and moved up here.
Yep.
One of the reasons.
Get away from it all.
One of the reasons.
Ready. Go on to these. Do you have a cause that is meaningful to you?
Probably the environment.
Anything in particular that you are strongly about?
Well, clean water, clean air. If you can't vote for clean water and clean air, then I don't know where you're coming from.
And why should others take interest in this? Just for
It's a basic human right. To have access to clean water and clean air.
I think I asked this earlier. Any family members you felt most similar to?
Well, I guess in some respects, Dad, and also Mom. Dad on the, probably on the sporting end of things. Dad was not very technical or mechanical. He barely knew which end of a screwdriver to hold. Sorry to say. He was insulted when he got a tool box for Christmas one year. But he worked on boats, and he did have he had us doing a lot of work on his cruiser when he had it, sanding and painting and sanding, and yeah, we did a lot of that. I think Mom definitely more the kind of the cleaning and the I guess sort of some of the discipline, and probably some of her I guess being frugal with a lot of things, being conservative on spending money. Dad go out and buy a Cadillac like he was going out and buying a loaf of bread, and Mom's at home cutting coupons out of the newspaper to save a few pennies.
Very different views on
They were
spending money.
opposites.
Yeah.
They were opposites. Yeah.
Personality-wise, how were they similar or different to each other?
I guess they were pretty opposite, but I think they both had having a large family.
Yeah.
Obviously. Of course, that could be a little one-sided, but seeing as Mom was the one bearing all the children.
What do you miss about your parents?
Oh, I miss probably having them around here that were in the summertime. It was always good to break away from the old parents at age 20. But, as we got older, it was, we spent a lot of time here with them. And I probably got to spend a lot more time with them here than probably some of the other siblings did. And, of course, with Dad, I ended up, taking a lot of him on when he was here in his, later years when he was having issues of whatever they were. Yeah.
Do you enjoy music?
Yep.
What particular genre do you enjoy the most?
Probably jazz.
Yeah. Any favorite songs or artists?
Gosh, there are a lot of them that were out there. Miles Davis, really like some of his earlier stuff. Even some of his crazy years were pretty interesting. There are a lot of jazz artists. I like classical music as well. And I like 60s, 70s rock, some from, the formative years when we got out of the Johnny Angel, mode from the 50s and 60s. Yeah, Santana. I mean, a lot of these bands started showing up. It was like, it's totally different than the music that had been coming out prior to that. All the doo-wop music. And,
not quite your style. Not quite your style.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What is something that you always enjoy learning about?
Well, I enjoy gardening. I've had garden over here for years, and whatever's out there to learn, I try to. History. Like to read a lot of historical novels, and spend a lot of time working on boats, like in the garage.
Any particular time period you like to read about?
Read a lot about World War II, Germany, and I read a lot about American, a lot of American history, early frontier times, and I've read a lot, like reading a lot about Russian history. Read quite a bit of Russian novels and.
What with that piqued your interest?
Just because I think they have a pretty old, civilization, and Tartars and Mongols cruising through there, wreaking havoc over the years, and yeah.
How has your German heritage impacted your life?
I get a.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't say that it's really impacted it too much. I mean, other than, nobody was right off the boat, so to speak. It's been several generations removed. But I'd like to go to Germany sometime. That'd be pretty cool.
I did skip over it earlier, but any Cincinnati foods that were a favorite? I mean, you liked Geta, Skyline, or?
Well, I like Skyline.
Yeah.
Skyline chili, Geta. Some of the sausages, bratwurst and things that were made down there. Not big on Wiener Schnitzel or some of that stuff, but
Yeah.
but yeah, some good German cooking is good.
So what did you do for a living then? What are you still doing for a living?
I'm a general contractor, and I came to that kind of work starting. I started work up here in doing marine construction for flotation docks. I actually started building docks, and then went to work on their barge there, where we did marine construction. And I drove the tugboat and picked up a few caretaking jobs in between, and one thing left to another, and started doing general contracting. And right now we're building pretty high-end homes here in the Les Cheneaux Islands. I've probably built 30 homes here in the area over a period of time, and most of them are pretty high-end homes.
Yeah. And you've been doing that since you graduated then?
Pretty much so, yeah.
Yeah.
Been kind of on a steady upward climb.
Are you optimistic or concerned about anything particular in future generations?
Well, I think they've got a hard road to haul. I mean, our population now is what, 8-9 billion, and doesn't seem like things are slowing down. So there's going to be a major push to gobble up resources, and I think that's probably the biggest thing that these kids are going to be having to face, is a world that is going to be more denuded than it already is. But at the same time, there's also, I think, hopefully they can get a handle on, as more countries become more developed, they can start controlling their populations better. And I mean, that's a major thing, is the population of this planet is just like a bunch of, like a virus or something that's eating its host up. So hopefully things change. Although we sit here in this beautiful part of the world here, and things seem pretty great, but there are a lot of things going on that aren't so great.
What does your family history mean to you, and what makes the Brumleve family unique?
Well, there's a pretty close-knit family as far as, family being, staying together and in touch for the most part. Although people have moved so much, a lot of families have kind of dispersed, even our own siblings living around the country in different places. But yeah, I think just being the family's always been pretty close.
And what does Les Cheneaux mean to you?
It means home for me. And it's a very special place. Fortunately, it's still pretty clean. The water quality is still good. And I think hopefully we can keep it that way. Although it seems the summers are getting more intense with more boaters and more, people coming to the area, that's putting a little more strain on the environmental, impact of the place.
More people, more pollution in the water. Yep.
Lots of plastic pollution, and yeah, I mean, like I said, the water quality is still pretty good here. Fortunately, people here only for short periods of time in the summertime, and it, for the most part, the rest of the time of year is pretty darn quiet.
Is there anything funny or controversial that you believe in or don't believe in? Moon landing, Bigfoot, aliens?
No.
No.
I believe in science and evidence, unlike some people in our world today.
Okay.
Bigfoot, Sasquatch, conspiracy theories.
Question authority. Now, do you believe any conspiracies about authority then?
Well, it depends on who's the authority.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, if you can't bear these conspiracy theories out with evidence, then any blind man can see that they're not true. Should be able to see it.
when I go over
Are
anything.
we in the religion?
Oh, yeah. That one I did skip over. Please. How has religion impacted your life? Obviously, growing up Catholic.
Growing up Catholic, had Sisters of Charity teach us through grade school. At boarding school, we had Xaverian Brothers, a teaching order. And then when I went to Roger Bacon, had Franciscan priests. But none of that seemed to really stick very well, because right after that, I think I probably pretty much abandoned the Catholic religion. Although I'm sure that in some subjective way, it is, has influenced my life. But I am probably basically agnostic at this point.
How did your parents feel about that, or did they really know how you felt about it?
Oh, yeah, Dad was like, it was, his point of view was it was better to believe because you might escape going to hell than
Not out of true faith.
out of true faith.
Right.
Mom was much more true faith, and Dad, too. But I mean, they all had their prejudices during their years of, even though you're Catholic and you're supposed to be doing all this good moral stuff,
yeah.
they had their prejudices.
Is your larger objection to the organization or just the theory of what is believed?
Probably the theory of what is to believe. I mean, why is it so important that you have to believe in God? And why does everybody want to try to make you believe in God?
Yeah.
I never could figure why it was so important. It's
You
a question you can't answer. There's no answer for. So why spend a lot of time dwelling
Concerning on it? Yeah.
Do any other religions appeal to you in any kind of spiritual way other than?
Some of the Eastern religions are probably have more relevance, I think, than a lot of
Traditional Catholicism, yeah.
the WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant religions, which are basically spin-offs from Catholic religion. But yeah, I don't know. I just think that they're taking the moral high ground when they're actually living down in the, I'm not going to go so far as to say the gutter, but
Yeah.
they certainly don't live up to their
Their standings,
so-called
yeah.
moral standards.
Do you think we'd be better without all religion?
I think we would be much further ahead if people could abandon a lot of their religious thoughts and ideas. I mean, half the wars of this world are caused by religion, tribal stuff.
Did you question religion in school?
Probably going through high school. I mean, it was like, I'm not sure in grade school you
Didn't do too much questioning.
blindly followed what was going on. But even then, kneel down, stand up, kneel down.
All right, let me go ahead and.
All right, well, rapid fire then.
Rapid fire. I
Yeah.
got my 2 cents in by religion.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Your opinion is what we want, so we want you to say exactly how you feel.
If you interview Chuck, I'm sure he'll have some interesting things.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay, rapid fire.
All right. Fish or steak? Fish or steak?
Probably fish at this point.
Yeah. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Beer or mixed drinks?
Both.
White or wheat bread?
Wheat.
Vanilla or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Bacon or sausage?
Or geta.
Yeah. Get it as a third option.
Probably bacon.
Okay. Scrambled eggs or over easy?
Over easy.
Cream and sugar or black coffee?
Black.
Ketchup or mustard?
Mustard.
Comedy or thrillers? Books, movies?
Where's drama? Is drama in there?
And you throw it in, yeah.
Drama. Comedies too. I like good
Yeah.
comedies if they're good.
Card games or board games?
Hard games?
Card games or board games?
Neither.
Neither. Formal or casual?
Casual.
Country or city?
Country.
Football or baseball?
To play or to watch?
Either.
I don't play either one, but Probably football to watch. I like playing baseball.
Yeah.
If I was to play, it'd be baseball.
College or pro?
Neither.
Yeah. Traveling.
Probably college.
Yeah. Traveling, domestic or international?
Domestic.
Yeah. Driving or flying?
Oh, God. Depends on where I'm going.
Yeah. Plane or a boat?
Plane or a boat? Well, locally, boat.
Yeah.
Of course, I wouldn't mind flying to Mackinac Island there.
Yeah.
I've done that too. But if our short trip, car, long trip, definitely fly.
Plane. Yep. Tropical or Arctic to travel to?
Well, probably tropical.
Yeah.
I live in the Arctic half. I'm
Yeah.
half of living in the Arctic now.
Yeah. Spring or fall?
Well, since we don't have much spring here, I'd say fall.
And summer or winter?
Winter.
Thunderstorm or snowstorm?
Like snowstorms.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
Night owl or early riser?
Early riser.
Brains or beauty?
Both.
Christmas or Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving.
All right. Any last words on anything?
No, Thanksgiving is one of the few holidays that you don't have to go out and buy presents,
Yeah.
cards. You don't have to wrap your house in all kinds of decorations and
Just enjoy
Food and family.
company.
Just
and-
food and family.
food and family. Right on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Christopher. We appreciate
Yeah.
your time, and we look
Okay.
forward to hearing the rest about house stuff and all that.